Okay, here's the situation.
When you think about marriage, you think that each person should be thinking about the other. So every spouse should be thinking about the other person, not yourself, but the other person. So when you think about every marriage needing that, my question to you is, what does that look like? What does that look like in your choices and your decisions?
Excellent. So, for me, as a man, it looks like whenever I go and do something, I'm thinking of putting my wife first. Um, that is if I'm going to the shopping mall. I'm thinking about, like, what is she like? I'm going to the store, clothing, clothing shopping. If I'm making a decision about an outing event, or an event that has to do with maybe in a Friday or a Saturday evening after a long days of work, a long week of work, I'm thinking about her first. What would she like to do? What would she like to kind of encounter? And in that essence, I hope to actually please myself as well. So there is an old saying, of course, you know, happy wife, happy life. But this is that question a little bit deeper, into the thread, right? So when I think about it, in its next level, it's not thinking about my wife. Sounds weird, right? But thinking about her in the effect that it's going to help me as well. So if I'm thinking about myself and I know my wife well enough, then I'm actually not thinking about myself. I'm thinking about her. I'm thinking about her through myself. And it makes me reflect on, if you're thinking about your wife or your spouse first, you're actually thinking about yourself first. Um, Once again, if you know each other well enough that those ripple effects of you liking someone and wanting to please them, it's gonna that wave is gonna come right back and hit you. That's kind of how I feel about it, and it becomes secondary.
So I love that you're saying that because that's really what this question or this statement is about, right? It's saying that if you think about the other person, if I'm always thinking about him first and he's always thinking about me first, then we're good. We're always going to be good. There's not going to be any lack. We're not going to be fighting over anything or competing for anything because I'm thinking about him and he's thinking about me. So any gaps will be filled, right? But I really want you to think on a deeper level about what does that look like? What does it look like for me to always think about him first? Right? That looks like not just in what I buy or where I go or who I talk to, right? Or who I'm around or the places that I go to. Thinking about him first is, you know, is the argument worth it? Right? Is the bringing up a situation, is that a right time? Is that really for us? Is the end result going to be a us thing? I also think about thinking about the other person first. Is what I want to do for myself going to be beneficial to him? Because if it's not going to be beneficial to him, then I'm not thinking about him first. I'm thinking about me first, right? So I want us to go deeper than the superficial, deeper than the first layer. Go deeper than that about what does that really look like for a married couple to really truly be thinking about the other person.
I think you should also make sure you know each other, and that's what the point about being married is that you do know each other well enough and grow to each other well enough that you're observing, right, what that person likes, right? We'll talk about this later on in a couple of blogs, but that would have to be with their spices, right? We'll talk about that, the spices of life, and if I am making sure that my wife's layers are okay, then I'm okay. Um, if I'm looking at the fact that, say for example, I don't like doing dishes, but I know she had a long day, and I got home first. There's a sink full of dishes. Am I gonna do them? Or am I gonna wait for her to do them? I want to put us in a win-win situation as couples. And I think that we also want you to understand that coupling and being together is the most important thing. And so this is a great topic for us to start off our first blog for, because we want you guys to win. We want to put you in a situation where you're going to win. And we want you to know that thinking about the person that's to your right, closest to you, you're winning when you're thinking about them first. So I guess what I'd like to leave you guys with a little bit of homework assignment. You walk into a store. You only have enough for one candy bar. There are 3 candy bars to choose from. The one you like, the one your wife likes, and the one you may like together. When we come back, we're going to give you the answer, our answer. That's going to be interesting. But we would need to think about it. What candy bar would you pick?
What candy bar would you pick? So we're going to end that with saying it is important in your marriage to always be thinking about the other person. What do they need? What do they like? What makes them happy? What triggers them? What makes them feel safe? How am I nurturing them? Like, all these pieces are important in your marriage. And so these are the things that we're going to talk about when we come to you. The Currys are coming. And we're coming for your marriage. We're coming for your parenting. We're coming for your relationships. And we're coming for your soul care. Right? God has to be the center of everything that you do. And if we can help you include God in that decision of what you're going to do in regards to your other half, right? How you're going to handle that, how you're going to speak to that, how you're going to encounter being with your other half. What comes first? If your other half comes first, we want God to be a part of that decision. And so the Currys are coming.
Paint the scenario. See you next time.
Peace.